Alrighty, I'm not sure how far I'm going to get on this today, but that gives you a whole bunch of information on how to treat the acrylic and the polycarbonate. And first step, collect all the parts. Alrighty, got all the windshield parts sourced, everything except for the 1/2-inch acrylic foam tape. I don't recall seeing any of that, but that's not a big deal. I got it. Some more windshield in the trim strip down there, and as I climbed up here to drill the first hole, I saw the bag for the fuel vents. So I was like, oh, let me put those in. I never put it in because the wings were kind of kicking around. I didn't want to break it off. So then I went to look in the manual to make sure, you know if there's a thread sealant or something like that on there. And I know this is a really pathetic justification, but it is aviation, so anything goes. If you remember, this is the tube of gold, liquid gold, and for the header tank I bought this. It was $200 and I used about a drop, maybe 1.1 drops. So I was actually excited that the manual says you can use it on here, so I'm going to use it on that. All right, back to the windshield. I'm going to try and document this. I obviously don't know if I'm going to do it the right way, but other than Brandon Culp's video, there's really nothing that I've seen out there from some of the other guys. Not much windshield stuff. So anyway, first step, 1/4 inch back. These are 3/4 inch wide. Center it, so 3/8 of an inch in. Drill 230 number 30 holes, and read the instructions after. Next, they want you to put 2 or 3 straight edges across, and you're gonna bend the 3 support ribs to match the wing root, and then line them up there. Now the instructions do say that you don't want it more than an inch beyond this, which I guess where the rivet line is, otherwise the dihedral will throw it off. These are 48-inch levels, which obviously is a very common size. It goes about 2 inches on either side, so I'm just gonna eyeball it from there. I'm gonna use these 2. Their little diagram shows 3, but this should work. All right, those are the ribs, and then they want you to round over this top edge so it fits inside there. So I just did that with a grinder. The ribs are in. The outside ones are pretty perpendicular or square against that. This one here is not quite. I suppose I could bend it forward. I'm not sure if that's what I'm supposed to do or not. Obviously this one's also a lot taller than this one. I want to see how that fits up against the windshield, if that's supposed to be. Little dilemma in the back, and my understanding is that this is supposed to be flush, and I think Brandon had the same issue, that this obviously sits quite a bit lower than that, so I'm not sure if I have to lift this up. But then these guys sit quite a bit higher than the skin, so some research, I'll get back to you, let you know what I come up with. The power of reading the instructions. Well, that was easy. You just chop the rest of it off. Alright, since I'm more of a visual guy, to form these ribs, I basically just traced them on my table here. And then I know it needed to go up here a little bit. So I think I'm in the ballpark here. I need to bend it a little bit more there. Maybe I bent it too much there, but yeah. So the black is the original bend, and then the red is the bend that fit better. This is the outside ribs. So that worked pretty good. About 2/3 of the way back it had to come up a 1/2 inch or so, but pretty happy with the way it fits along there. Now this guy here, obviously I'm going to lift it up here. This one's still got a little ways to go, but I think it's going to end up, you know, right about here being a 1/2 inch up. Probably be the same. I only did the 2 outside ones, so I'll do the middle one now. All right, back at the hangar, another day, and gonna see if I make some progress on those roof ribs. While I was at home, or at work actually, my box of tricks, I found some more angle iron, used some new. So I cut this to 46 inches. You know, I'll be able to clamp those up on there. And the other good thing is, remember how I was trying to get this arch? I was reading on a Facebook forum, somebody else was using the outside of the wing because it's actually easier to line up. So then the good news is I remember I had this fancy jig, and the cutout for it is actually that. So I can use that as a further template to see if I can get it accurate. The kind of bad or sad news is that a while ago, after I built the wingtips, obviously my kids had a little hide and seek at our house, and the winner actually was never found until just now. So hopefully, I don't need that. I just need this. All right, that was a joke. George was up here, made our experimental sticker and our tail number, so that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna put those on. All right, ADD kicked in a little bit. I had the couplers came in, these straight couplers for the wing fittings, and then I ended up lacing all that up too. You can only do so much lacing before that part of the back gives out, depending on how you're bending. So now we're on to these. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I actually have a 5th one I can mess with if I want. And the outside ones were actually really good. These I cut 46, so this is about 43. So anyway, they're still a little bit long, but it's fine for what this is. They're supposed to overlap 1 inch, so if you cut them 44 or 45, that'd be perfect. But probably splitting hairs here. Yeah, as you can tell, so I'm releasing this, and as I lift this up, it gently touches on all 4 of these. So, and that's for the 2 outside ones. The middle one's obviously going to need some work. I'm going to work on that now. But first I'm going to drill these holes to go through the jig of my wig. Got those drilled 1/4 inch down, 1/4 inch up, in from each side. And while I'm at it, I drew a center line on these guys underneath here. I like using an old microfiber towel to catch all the shavings. That catches everything. Just don't polish your plane with it after. Those are looking good. Now I'm working on the middle rib here. So that top tang is obviously twice as high as the side ones, so I had to bend that part up, and now looks like I kind of have to do the same thing on these to bring the back up a 1/2 inch. So that idea with the jig and making a template, that was useless, but this on the table works great. So I'm kind of in the same ballpark except higher here. So the idea is just to bring this up to where the red line is, which is the same as the outer ones. All right, here's what I learned about the center rib. So this tab, pretty obvious, it's about a 1/2 inch higher than these tabs. And in the back, I put a 1/4 inch spacer. You can see it taped onto that just so it's flush with that. I think others have done the same. If you bend it the same as that and just take this into consideration to bend it higher, and then the tail is fine, then right now I have it just tapping all of the braces across, so I'm real happy with that. And I suggest doing something like this. This helped a lot. You know, I marked it here. The red line is where I wanted it, and then basically for the center one I just moved it up that 1/2 inch on this end, and then by the time you get to about here you can contour the red line, and that got me what I would consider a good fit. All right, now I'm taking a look at the I drilled that and Clecoed it. Taking a look at the way the back kind of lines up. So if this was the acrylic on the outside, or the polycarbonate on the outside, it's just a tad bit high on the center. Even with the spacer, it's a tad bit low, and on this side it's a tad bit high. Now I know it can contour and flex into it, and wherever it touches it should be fine. I don't really want to raise this anymore. I think a 1/4 inch is I don't know, about as much as I want to go. But the tops of these, so I kind of went on the low side here. I moved them down a little bit, so I may actually grind this high spot off because I don't want it to dig into the Lexan. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's the same on both sides. I match drilled these and made it kind of a line. I am going to cut that off. More Goodera. Throw some primer on that. I gotta throw some primer on the front where I countersink those 3 holes for the flush rivets anyway. They want you to rivet that now, but I want to paint these, and I think I'm gonna paint them at my shop. So I'm gonna see how I progress with the windshield. Found some primer, so I ended up priming them, and I have paint here too, so I'm gonna paint them. The rivets, gotta love these guys. They give you 3 rivets for the front. In other words, don't mess up. I need 3, I need 5 for the back. I got 5. In other words, don't mess up. Except that middle one's gonna be longer. So the rivets they give you are dash 42s. I believe I'm gonna need a dash 66 if I did my math right, with the 1/4 inch spacer in there. Yeah. So time to look for one of those somewhere in here. I think I said 66. I meant a 46. And luckily, looks like I have some left over from the wing kit. So I was able to use one of those in there. And while that paint is drying, I am going to see if I can peel the edge of this plastic off. They like double wrapped it. Well, cutting all that edge back definitely made for enough time for the paint to dry. Alright, I did one last check, which was going across, and they all look really, really good. Up until here, which is kind of like the high spot, so 1, 2, 3, 4 rivets back, and then 3 rivets back is still good. Here they start to gain a little bit, but I think the windshield sits over that, so hopefully we'll be okay. I ended up priming those, or wet riveting, whatever you call them, the similar metals. Can't hurt, I figured. And yeah, now they're in. No turning back now. I am gonna put the windshield on to get an idea of what the next steps are. But I also think I'm gonna end the video here. I know I shot a good amount today. I'm not sure how long it is, but obviously it's gonna be a multi-part series on the windshield and the skylight. But this is the part where you install the ribs, or at least I install the ribs. All right. So they want you to have this 1.5 inches back from here to here, and this like literally just sits on a hairline on top of the wings. I hope it's not supposed to go between the wings, but I think there's a piece of metal that goes underneath, then the plastic, and a piece of metal on top. So I do believe it's in the proper position. I have to give a shout out to RANS or whoever makes these windshields for them. This is like a piece of art. I mean, I work with plastic and build stuff in cars, and I know they make stuff like this for boats, but it's just cool. It's a really cool. Looks like it fits amazingly well. And all right, now I'm going home. It's been a long day. See ya. I found some inappropriate markings on our windshield. I think that might have been Shelly. All right, so you know me, I can't go home. Well, I am going home, but I had to fit the doors, and I just put these on. It's kind of the fun stuff when you're just kind of clicking stuff together. And I'm super happy because I was curious about the gap without even aligning anything. Obviously this will have to be adjusted a little bit, but the door gaps are right on. So that makes for a good day and a good night. See ya again. I'm really going.